Recently, on the Aurora Prehistoric Scenes Society Facebook page, somebody had posted saying that they were missing the tongue piece for the woolly rhino in the tar pit kit and wanted to see if anybody had that piece. And, well, I do. And so I got in touch with this person and made an arrangement to reproduce this piece and get it to them. Now, the process was full of this adventure. So let's talk about that for a minute. It took me about 6-7 tries, and this will give you, these are some of the molds that I tried in this process. I also, we'll talk about this material in a minute. So it was a lot of trial and error, but I finally got something that worked. So let's talk about the process. The first thing to do, aside from gather the ingredients for it, was to build a mold box. So to build a mold box, I used Lego. I've used Lego in the past for this purpose, and it works really, really well because you can take it apart, put it back together, and get the mold the way you want it. Then I tried a couple of different materials. One of them was the Alumilite's mold putty, and I was going to do a two-piece mold. So half of the mold was done in the mold putty, the other half was using smooth on 16 fast mold material, silicone mold material, and on the top, and that didn't work out. Then I tried a bunch of different stuff until finally I abandoned doing a two-part process and did it as a one-part process. So I still used the Lego for the box, but then I used some Sculpey to put in the vents for the entry and escape points for the resin that I was going to use. And I also used some of that Sculpey to very thinly put kind of a little divider where the mold, or where the piece ended, because what I was going to have to do after I molded it was cut it out with a hobby knife. So I made that mold, finally got one to work, removed the Sculpey, removed the piece, or cut out the piece, removed the piece, and then I had something I could work with. The next step was to make the casting. So I wrapped the mold in electrical tape. I tried painter's tape, it didn't quite hold as well, but electrical tape seemed to work, and I could wrap it around, and then when I got to the end I would cut it off and then fold part of it onto itself so it would be real easy to pull it off. For the mold material, I used an Alumilite epoxy resin 2-part, and that seemed to work. I think in the future I'd like to find a different material, because it can, if you don't get the mix right, it can be a little bit rubbery, but at least that gave me something that resembled the part. So let's have a look at the parts. All right. So, I should also mention, after doing that, I decided to do these ears for the woolly mammoth woolly mammoth kit, because some people said that that's a part that might get missed. So here's our tongue. It's still got the flashing on it, and I sent it to the person who needed it with the flashing still on, because it's not perfect. But I thought that it would be better for them to cut off the flashing than me try to cut it off for them. so that way they could do it the way that they wanted. So it came out pretty good. This is one of the copies. Also, here are the woolly mammoth ears. A little thin in some places, but they're okay. So it was a worthy experiment on these ears. I think if I were to do it again, I would use a different resin. So if you are needing missing parts from Prehistoric Scenes kits, I have like 3 of each. So if you need a replacement part, hit me up, and maybe I can work something out for you. Eventually, once I get my 3D scanner and printer set up, I'll be moving to that, which I think will give me better results. But we're not there yet, and sadly, the 3D printer and the curing station got stolen out of my garage a couple of days ago. So that's put me behind quite a bit. But eventually, that's the plan. And I hope to do the parts and eventually full kits. And then my own kits later on down the line. That's my hope. We'll see where things end up. But anyway, thanks for joining me on this adventure, and stick around for the next one. Take care.